Welcome students. Till now we have discussed the topic video card. Now the next internal hardware component is CPU. CPU is the main unit of a computer. You can also call it as a brain of a computer. So when we are referring a CPU as a brain of a computer, that means all the execution of instructions will take place will take place under CPU. So CPU is responsible for executing all the instructions that are given to the computer. So it is basically controlling all the instructions that are sent or that are received from hardware, and they are sent to the software for the processing of those instructions. So now the CPU is made of a silicon chip which is placed inside the CPU socket. So if you see on your screens, this is a CPU socket and this is how the CPU looks like. This is a small chip and this chip is installed on this CPU socket which is present on the motherboard. And the more the speed of the CPU, the better CPU you will get. That means the CPU speed is determined by the number of instructions it executes per second. Okay, so if a CPU is executing more instructions in 1 second, the performance of that CPU will be better. And the speed of CPU is measured in megahertz. You should remember the unit in which the speed of CPU is measured. It is megahertz. Now, there are further three components of a CPU. One is a memory unit, arithmetic and logic unit, and one is a control unit. So all the instructions that we give to the computer, they are temporarily stored in this memory unit. Okay. Next is this control unit. Control unit will fetch all the instructions from this memory unit, execute them, and give it to the output. So the function of this arithmetic and logic unit is it helps to perform any kind of arithmetic calculations and any logics that you need to apply to execute those instructions. So control unit is fetching the instructions from the memory unit, and in case if there is to be performed any kind of calculation or any logic is to be applied, this control unit will further interact with the arithmetic and logic unit, and that instruction will be executed and accordingly the output will be displayed on the monitor. So that is the task of a CPU. Next internal hardware component is a RAM, which is also known as a random access memory. So this particular memory is a temporary memory. So when you're working on your computer, all the applications that you are using on your computer, they are all temporarily stored in this RAM. This is a temporary memory, or you can also call it as a volatile memory. Means till the time the system is on, this memory, the applications will be stored in the RAM. As soon as your system is turned off, all the data that is present on RAM that will be erased. So that is why it is called a temporary memory. Next we have a ROM. ROM stands for read-only memory. As the name suggests, it is read-only memory, means you cannot make any modifications, you cannot write anything on this memory. So it is a permanent memory, permanent storage. So that means once the system is turned off, the data is still present on the ROM. It does not get erased once the system is off, unlike RAM. Okay, so RAM is a temporary memory and ROM is a permanent memory. All right. Next, we have a disk drive. Disk drive means you have a hard disk. You know what is the function of a hard disk? It is a storage device that is either connected externally or it is installed inside the system. So hard disk, CD drive, DVD drive, they all come under the category of a disk drive. So if you have a CD, you need to play a CD on your system. The system should have a disk drive present on the motherboard. Next we have a SMPS, which stands for switched mode power supply. This is how the SMPS looks like. So it is basically providing safety to your electrical appliances. So the task of SMPS is it converts the unregulated power supply, converts it to a regulated power supply, and then it supplies the regulated power to the computer components that are present on the motherboard. Next internal hardware component is a modem. Modem further stands for modulator and demodulator. So through this device, you are able to send or receive any information through the telephone lines. So the task of modulator is it converts the digital data to analog data, and the demodulator further converts the analog data to the digital data. So let's say there are two computers. They are connected through a telephone line, and they want to send one. There is computer 1 which wants to send a file to computer 2, and computer 1 and computer 2 are connected with a telephone cable. Now the computer works on digital signals and the telephone line is working on analog signals. So if you want to send the data from computer 1 to computer 2, first the digital data present on computer 1 has to be converted to the analog data, which will travel in the telephone cable. So who is doing this task of converting digital to analog data? That is the task of a modem, which is modulator part of a modem. Now at the computer 2, again there will be a modem connected at computer 2. What is the task of this modem at computer 2? The signal or the file that has been sent from computer 1 through the telephone line, that signal has to be converted into digital form so that it is readable by computer 2. So the data that is come from telephone cable, it is in the analog form. So the modem connected to computer 2 will convert this analog data to the digital data. That is the task of a demodulator. So you should remember what is the modulator doing and what is a demodulator doing. Modulator is converting digital to analog, and demodulator is converting analog signal to a digital signal. Now modem is further of three types. One is internal modem, external modem, and a PC card modem. Now, what is an internal modem? Any modem that is installed inside the computer in the form of a card on a motherboard, that is an internal modem. As the name suggests, internal means it's present internally in a computer. External modem is it's in the form of a box, just like as you see in this figure, in this picture. This is an external modem. It's in the form of a box and it is connected to the computer externally. Next is a PC card modem. It is mainly used for laptops and it's in the size of a credit card. So it is basically a combination of both external and internal modem, right? Next is a heat sink. What is a heat sink? So when your computer is working or you're working on a laptop, you might have experienced that your laptop heats up after some time, maybe in an hour or so. Your computer, there is a little heat that you can feel on your laptop. Same is the case with computers. So when your computer or your CPU is working, it generates some heat. So the task of this heat sink is it distributes or disperses this heat so that it does not harm the computer components. It is made of a metal and there is a fan that is placed on the heat sinks. Just see this image. This is a fan and below it is a heat sink. So what is this fan doing? It is dispersing the heat and it is cooling the processor so that the processor doesn't heat up. If excess of heat is generated, your CPU, it can damage your CPU or it can damage any other component. So the task of heat sink is to cool the processor and distribute the heat which is generated by CPU. Now next is ports. Ports means any slot on the motherboard that you have through which you connect your devices to your computer. That is called port. Means it is a connection between your computer and your external device. In the next video we'll be studying about different ports that you have on your computer. Thank you.